Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbachelor.com, out here for another gear review, and today talking about this little guy right here, which is the Flextail Gear mini air pump. So what is inside this little bag? Shockingly enough, a mini air pump and some little parts and pieces that go with it, and apparently some of the bag also. But this thing is actually pretty neat. So on the back here, there's this D-ring. You can actually hang it. That can be important because this right here is actually an LED light. And right here, probably give you a close-up in a minute, go over all this stuff, but ultimately it's an air pump. It has directional arrows, so it's pulling air from this side, pushing air out that way. Why is that important? Well, you can reverse basically the attachments. So you can actually pull air out of something if you're trying to deflate something. And it does some pretty cool stuff. As far as the attachments it comes with, so funny story, I actually went out to film this probably a couple months ago at this point, and there was a bunch of snow I was trying to go through, and well, I dropped one and it's gone forever. I'm sorry. I know eventually it'll get to the ocean and kill a sea turtle. I'm apologizing ahead of time. Could never find it. It was in like 5 feet of snow and it rolled off a snowbank into nothingness.
Rolled down the hill.
It's gone forever. But there are 5 different attachments. This one right here has basically this kind of rubber piece, which if you have one of the old school Thermarests that, like really old school, like probably made in like the 90s or something like that, this will actually go on there. It'll inflate them. Pretty cool. And then kind of that didn't roll down the hill, fortunately. All these other different little fittings, bits, things like that. This one right here is really handy if you have kids and you do stuff around like the pool or lake. They're like, hey dad, do me a favor and spend the next 30 minutes blowing up this massive inflatable thing. No. But with this, you basically shove it straight in. The little nozzle you would otherwise spend a half an hour blowing up and getting lightheaded with, and yeah, inflate it in no time. It's pretty cool. The unit right here, this top piece, peel back, and you have USB-C charging, which is nice, and that goes back in place. Right here is the button to control it. Over here, it's showing the direction the air is moving. As I mentioned earlier, there's this D-ring, also worth mentioning, which is kind of cool. If maybe you keep this thing in your car, or if you're overlanding or whatever, never mind this pistol, but bam, it's magnetic, which is pretty sweet. And on top of that, or why that's cool rather, is you can actually stick this to the underside of your hood on your vehicle if you need to work on there, because this right here is a LED. And if you press it and hold it, it'll come on. I think that's the lowest setting. I want to say it's like 50 lumens or something. Press it again, goes to the middle setting, I think 150 lumens. And third time, I think it's like 400 lumens, something like that. And because of that D-ring, of course, we can hang it, use it as a lantern if we're backpacking or car camping, anything like that. And all the different fittings, they basically go directly on the unit. They just push in like that, and you will orient them whichever way you want. Right here, set up for inflating with the air moving in that direction. Reasons you would want one of these. Honestly, pool toys. If you're a parent, you will appreciate that. Also, if you end up investing, because I'll be honest, not super cheap to pick up inflatable air mattresses, like good ones. This one's by Climate. I just got it static V2, made in Taiwan. But if you end up getting one of these and you're like, oh, I don't need that, I'll just blow this thing up. One, that sucks. And in addition to that, you end up introducing a bunch of humid air through your breath, and it can ultimately end up mildewing and reduce the life of your investment that you invested in. So these are actually pretty handy for that. The button on this, for whatever reason, it's basically a double click. Again, press it, hold it to get the lantern on, double click to actually get the air going. But this is the right fitting, fortunately for this. Turn it to inflate, shove it on there, and double click it, and inflate this. single click it to turn it off, and then cover it up. I'm not sure how long that not sure how long that took. I'll have to look at the timestamp and I can let you know. But pretty quick. Would have gone quicker if when I first started inflating this, I wasn't covering it. I was actually a little concerned about the biting fly, which I finally just killed. But bam, thing's inflated. Who do I think this would be good for? Honestly, anyone that uses air mattresses for one, whether you're backpacking or car camping, and definitely handy around a pool or a beach, things like that too, if you have a bunch of inflatable stuff. Is it worth taking backpacking? I want to say it's just under 3 ounces, and dimensionally, it's basically about 2 inches by about 1 3/4 inches. Again, 3 ounces. So if you're an ultralight backpacker, maybe that is too much. Honestly, if this just inflated stuff, probably wouldn't bring it, honestly. But as a backup light, a little lantern, it's actually really handy. And well, I can't do it right this second because my camera's on my tripod. What I'll do sometimes when I'm out backpacking is, especially at night, getting set up, doing whatever, I already have a tripod there. So I'll just extend the legs all the way up and just hang this thing. Well, not usually with this thing in there, but hang it as a lantern, which is actually pretty handy. And so, yes, this is not my only illumination tool. Always have a flashlight or a headlamp, but having basically a backup, it's pretty nice. This is also rechargeable, doesn't take batteries, which is very nice too. And how much are you getting out of it? One, I've never actually ran the lantern until this thing died. I've also never used this to fill or blow air until it died either. Per the literature, I want to say it'll run for 15 minutes straight, which is really significant. It also says don't run it for 15 minutes straight. I think it'll probably overheat. It says run it for maybe 10 minutes. Even then, I don't know what you would inflate for 10 minutes straight. That's a massive volume of air. I want to say it's something crazy, 180 liters per minute, something along those lines. Moves quite a bit of air. So, yeah. I've never been out in the backcountry, even on multiple night trips, and had this thing die on me. To include even when my friends have this massive, 2-person, probably 6-inch high, essentially an inflatable bed for their tent. And I was like, here, you want to try this? They're like, yeah, sure. And yeah, still had plenty of juice for my air mattress too. So been pretty pleased. Price-wise, I want to say $30 over on Amazon. I was actually turned on to these by my buddy, Matt, over at Jerking the Trigger. If you haven't checked his stuff out, I would encourage you to. And yeah, there'll be links down below to all this stuff. But overall, pretty solid investment. I would say, especially if you're car camping, not only a backup lantern, but being able to throw this thing magnetically under the hood of your car if you need to deal with something, why not? Pretty good $30 investment. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time. If you look really close, you might be able to see the path it made somewhere down there. Bummer, man.